Hello, welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us for the third installment of Diablo Magazine's Dig In Comfort Food series, where we're spotlighting local feel-good food from local East Bay restaurants. My name is Ethan Fletcher. I'm the food editor for Diablo Magazine, and I'll be your host this afternoon. Let's see, just a couple of reminders before we get going. This episode is being recorded and will be shared following the event, and all the viewers will receive an email with that video. Just like to start off with a special thank you to Xfinity, who's our Dig In series sponsor for all 5 series, and thank you very much for sponsoring that and sponsoring local restaurants and local magazines. So as an introduction, each November we do a food issue for Diablo Magazine. This year was no different, but it did present sort of unique challenges considering the entire food industry has been sort of turned upside down along with everything else. So we sort of had to try to think real hard about how to cover the food scene this year, and so we did a few different angles. One of them was sort of highlighting the local chefs and how heroic they've been, and sort of adjusting and pivoting to the new sort of pandemic reality. We did another food series on feature story on cooking at home and how to up your cooking game because everybody's cooking more from home. And our third one was sort of a trend that we saw, which was sort of a return of comfort food. And that was kind of, I think, our most delicious feature. And along with that, we've been doing these video series where we highlight certain foods that have been sort of making a comeback this year. So we started off with pie and sweets. Last week we did focaccia and bread, and this week we're doing soup. And here to guide us through a classic sort of spin on a French onion soup. This is going to be a caramelized onion soup. This is Essen DeCarian. And Essen is the other half of Essen and Curtis DeCarian, who are sort of East Bay dining royalty out here in Contra Costa. They own Essen Restaurant, Rebel Restaurant and Bar, and we are here in Lafayette at their latest restaurant, which just opened late last year.
December.
Right, yeah, I remember.
Right before pandemic.
Yeah, that's right. Auspicious timing, yeah. But I remember you did open before the holidays, right?
Day after Christmas.
Day after Christmas,
it was
really,
December 26th,
yeah.
It was opening, and it was doing extremely well until March 16th. And things went upside down after that.
That put the brakes on that. But,
exactly.
Yeah, but the Vicarians have been doing a great job. All your restaurants are open now, right?
They're all open. We opened right away, didn't wait around. I'm so glad we didn't because we would be waiting a long time for things to go back to normal.
Yeah.
So we started with takeout only for several months until June when they opened outdoor patio dining. And we were doing really great, and we had a little bit of seating inside, but now with the cases rising, we are only outside at the moment, which we are grateful as long as it's not raining.
Yeah.
So it's great.
Well, today is a lot better than yesterday.
Yes.
Obviously. Well, let's see. So, we highlighted this comfort food trend in the magazine. Have you seen that reflected in your restaurants at all, as far as what customers are ordering?
Oh, definitely. When the magazine came out last month, we had, let me think how many, about 40 orders of onion soup in one day.
Did you really?
It was insane. So we started making double batches.
Did you have to rush to the farmer's market to get more onions? Right?
Huge return on that.
That's
so
funny. There's a lot of crying in the kitchen out of it.
I think your eyes get used to it for a while. There's no crying. You probably will be crying next week.
I know. I should have brought my goggles. Yeah.
Yes.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about your sort of version of the caramelized onion soup and kind of where you came up with it and what your sort of spin on it is.
Well, we wanted to come up with items in our restaurant when we first opened 22 years ago. Things were that lighter and also catered to different diets out there, because in 1998 when we opened the restaurant, there weren't as many, but there were still people with special dietary needs. And that's why we decided that we would do all our soups vegetable stock based,
Okay.
unless we run a chicken soup or something like that. Then it's very different. But and we wanted other people to be able to enjoy it without, uh, not eliminating them from our restaurant.
Vegetarians,
So that's why we don't call it French onion soup. It's caramelized onion soup, and then we don't use meat stuff. But it's enriched with a little bit of brandy and red wine, which mimics the flavors. It gives the great color, and we use full red wine like Cab or Zinfandel.
Okay, something a little heavier.
A little heavier. It gives almost like a meaty flavor to it. Sometimes people don't realize that there is no real stuff there. It's all vegetable based. Yes.
Interesting. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, and so in a normal classic French onion soup, you'd be using beef stock or veal stock.
Oh, it's a veal stock, and they thicken it with a little bit of roux. They use flour there, a tiny bit, which we don't use also, because there is. You can get the onion soup without the bread, and they will become gluten free. So we don't use the flour, and traditionally, the most traditionally French onion soup is basically it's a village comfort food. Even summer or winter, year round, you can find onions hiding in anybody's pantry.
Right.
It's so simple, yet the end result is really very wonderful, almost elegant.
Yeah.
It is simple, but
it's kind of a
what
classic.
you get from it is wonderful at the end.
It's kind of a classic example of making the best of what you have.
What you have, exactly.
What's available, and there's so many wonderful dishes. So kind of an example of that.
Yes, if you don't have vegetable stuff, you can probably use butter, which they have in the old days.
Yeah, right.
A little bit of butter, a little oil, and some leftover bread goes on top, and then cheese.
Yeah, and they might put some other vegetables in there.
Exactly.
Well, let's get started. I mean, I was looking back at the recipe and ingredient list. It's very simple. There's not that many ingredients.
Yes,
right?
it's not many at all. We're just going to slice our onions first.
And there's 3 onions, right?
There's yes, for the recipe. But this is the sweet Vidalia onions. I'm sorry, I can't say these very well. My accent, it sounds different.
Vidalia.
Vidalia sounds
Just
good.
let me know, and I'll say the Vidalia when you need. And then you do 2 Vidalias and then 1 red onion.
For this recipe, yes. But at the restaurant, we make so many onions, and by the time you finish the product, you get like 5 gallons of soup. So a lot of onions and a lot of chopping.
Yeah. And for as far as prepping, you do each side first for the onion, and then you split it in half. Is that
yes. This is the best way. Just cut a side and peel the other skin. And you want to go about similar thickness when you're cutting.
And pretty thin. Is that right?
Pretty thin, yes.
And you said the red onion. Part of that is just for the color.
Also gives color, yes, and it's not as sweet as the Vidalia onions.
Okay. So it gives it a little bit better balance. So you don't want it to be too sweet.
Yeah, exactly. So we are doing all about this thickness here.
You can see that.
And when you're cutting onions like this, as it gets smaller here, it's easier. Just turn it around.
Oh, okay, good tip.
Yeah.
It becomes sort of like a little skinny tower,
Exactly.
which is dangerous.
Turn it around like this, and then finish that up, so you don't waste anything.
Okay, good. And what kind of knife are you using?
Oh, I got the Sean knife.
It's a Japanese knife?
It is Japanese knife, yes.
Is a lot of chefs seem to like the Japanese knives?
Oh, they're wonderful.
They're just a little sharper than the other ones?
Now, with any knife, you have to keep up, maintain them. Would you like to try?
All right. Okay.
Okay, I'm going to get my oil going so it's warm. You do want to warm up your pan.
Yep. And you're using, let's see, you're doing olive oil and butter. Is that right?
Yes. And you can do all butter or all olive oil.
Mhm.
Really, it doesn't matter. It's
Butter.
just preference.
Okay. And but as you said before, butter is generally going to taste a little bit better if that's what you
Butter
like.
adds a lot of flavor. Yes, since this vegetable base,
Mhm.
I think butter is good.
That's my technique.
Doing good so far.
Not bad.
Skinnier.
That's skinnier. Okay. A little slower than you. This is a great knife.
Yes, it's very sharp. So
Yeah.
watch your fingers.
Oh, well. We don't want any accidents on screen for the.
Doing good. You want me to take over?
Yep, I do. I feel like I've done
So
my
it's
part.
very-
Yeah, I've earned my soup now.
Very simple.
Yeah.
This is the probably the hardest part of the job of making the soup.
This is really the most prep, right?
It's the most prep, yes.
Uh-huh.
Just getting the onions going.
Yeah. Great.
While the onions are being sliced, this is getting nice and warm.
Okay.
You don't want to get really hot
Uh-huh.
because you don't want to burn your onions.
Okay.
Then it burns. It has that bitter flavor that you don't want
Right.
in your soup. You
So-
want it nice, slow cook.
Uh-huh.
That all the juices from the onion
Okay.
have a lot of juice. It will come out, all the sugars,
Okay.
and that will start caramelizing.
So that's where
towards end.
the caramelization is
That's
happening
right.
in that first
That's
part
right.
with the.
A lot
with
of
the,
people
butter.
think and it says caramelize right away, doing it in high heat and browning it. It's not so.
It's not right. Yeah. That's more for maybe like sugar or something if you're going to caramelize that. Right.
I'll start with this.
And you're putting this on medium heat, is that right?
Yeah, I started medium because I'm adding a lot of volume here.
Uh-huh.
It's gonna get cold really fast.
Okay.
As soon as it warms up, I'm gonna turn it down.
Okay. Yeah, so you start with higher heat to start.
Higher,
and then
yes.
once it's kind of going,
Yes.
and then you turn it down a little bit.
Yes, I do.
Okay. And you said you recommend the La Crusade or something similar for this?
Yes, something very thick. Pots really help prevent from burning. Thin stuff. Sorry.
Mhm.
But it is too thin, it will burn it and it's not gonna caramelize it.
Okay.
Um,
It'll have a little bit more even heat. I would
yeah,
imagine,
this is
around the end.
very more
Okay.
even heat, yes.
And so you're gonna kind of take it up until everything's warm and kind of sizzling a little bit. Then you take the heat down.
Yes, I
Okay.
will. And then I'm gonna add my salt that I measured already.
Okay, great.
I like
How much
putting-
salt?
It has tablespoon on the recipe.
Uh-huh.
This one is with tablespoon and a little bit more teaspoon because I like a little bit more salty.
So do I.
I like
and it's a sweet soup, right? So that kind of balances.
Yes,
balances
yes,
off
it
the,
does. So this is gonna take. It's pretty low right now, but if you hear it sizzling,
I do. I can hear it start to go a little bit.
so this is gonna go on like this about 45 minutes or so.
45 minutes. And how often are you stirring? You want to make sure it doesn't stick on the
Yeah,
bottom.
you want to make sure it doesn't burn.
Yeah. So it's not something you have to be over all the time, but you
No,
do
no,
want
not
to
at
pay a
all.
little
Just,
attention to it.
If you have to go answer a phone or doing something, just turn it down so it
Right.
doesn't burn.
Okay.
Towards the end, it will start sticking, and when the juices evaporate,
Mhm.
that's when you need to watch. In
Okay.
the beginning is
Because it's
not too much watching. Yes,
the liquid is still in there, right?
it is.
So towards the end, when it starts getting a little dry, that's when you really have to stir it a little
Yes.
bit more. Okay.
Yes.
And when do you what's the best tip for knowing it's done?
Then it turns brown. It's gonna start turning brown, which I can show you if I'm not going to.
Oh yeah, yeah, no, let's go.
I made one earlier.
Great. So through the magic of TV, we
So-
have that. Look at that. Okay. We can put it right up there so you can see
And
that.
all those brown bits is gonna give color to soup as well.
Yeah,
So it is really cooked down
yeah, very liquidy.
Exactly. And that one doesn't have the wine yet.
Okay,
so
should we switch on to
we
that?
can definitely
Great.
switch.
There you go. And so when it gets to this point, this is when we're going to add the wine and the brandy, right?
Yes.
Okay. And right before you add the wine and brandy, you turn it up to high heat. Is that right?
I do. So
Okay.
I'm gonna turn it a little bit high so I can get because it's cold now.
All right. Yeah.
But you don't have to deal with this part.
Yeah.
Because you're just gonna be ready to go.
Yeah, right. You do this right away. Once you think it's ready,
Yes.
you crank up the heat. And then why the brandy and the wine? Is that just for more flavor and a
It's
little
because
color?
there's no meat flavor there, which gives richness to it. And to mimic that, brandy and wine gives a different complexity
Mm-hmm.
to the stuff.
It's got a layering and flavors.
Exactly.
Right?
You know, you obviously gonna reduce the wine where most alcohol is gonna be evaporated.
Yes.
But you have is those delicious flavors of like Zinfandel wine, for example.
is that what you like to use?
Yes, that is it on this one.
Yeah.
And the brandy, same thing. It gives a little bit of nuttiness to it, another different complexity.
Mm-hmm. But it depends. I mean, you can use whatever wine.
You can use
like,
anything
right?
you want. Exactly. You can use Madeira there if you like. A little bit more nuttiness. Really, cooking is. I don't think you need to. As long as you know the techniques.
Yes.
You can do anything you want with cooking.
Right. So
you can experiment with it.
Right. I've heard maybe like the first time you're doing a recipe, you follow it and you see how it tastes, and then do it again and experiment
yes,
a little
exactly.
bit. See what you want.
And the most important thing is, controlling your temperature. You'll see me all day long in the kitchen. Control your temperature, guys.
Really?
Turn it down a little bit.
I think that's something like,
Yes.
gives a lot of beginner chefs. I do this too. I just set it and I think, forget about it, and you don't think you can kind of adjust it at all. And you can actually just take it off the heat sometimes, right?
Exactly,
it's really getting warm.
It's all in your control.
Yeah. Let's see. I did have one question about the recipe. We can send the recipe out by email. It's also attached to the story. So if you go to diablomag.com, you'll see the story on there, and you click on the story, and the recipe will be underneath within the story, so you don't have to wait for us to email it either. It'll be right there. Okay. Oh, and we have one more question. They were wondering if one person said they enjoyed last week. Thank you very much. And they're wondering, but they missed the first in this series. Is there a way to do that? Yes. Our wonderful behind-the-scenes person Emily is uploading all the videos to the story, to the feature story online. So if you go to diablomag.com, you'll see the comfort food story. Click on that and then scroll down, and then all the foods that we've done on video, there'll be a little indented video, so you can check it out on there. So I recommend everybody go to diablomag.com. And how's that looking?
So this is if you hear sizzling, and the aroma is really wonderful.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it smells really nice. It's so sweet.
So when you put these, you want it, that sound, sizzling sound.
You want to hear it.
Yes. Now we are going to reduce this, and it shouldn't take that long.
And this also serves to deglaze the
yes,
pan, right?
The glazing and all those brown parts.
Yes.
You want all that go into the soup because that's where all the flavors are.
That's the flavor, right? Yeah, it's kind of the best parts. Yeah.
Exactly. Best part is always in the bottom.
Yeah.
Sides.
Yeah. Wasn't that Anthony Bourdain in his first book?
Is it really? No.
They had something about the
I
best
didn't
parts,
read this book. I would love to read this book. It's,
and now you're in Essen. You first opened in San Ramon, right? And it's sort of a small.
We opened 1998. It was a 35-seat. It was cafe. That's why it was Cafe Essen.
Yeah.
And originally we were gonna do like a counter service type of thing. And then we decided to go full service. And we kept changing and evolving and listening to our guests. And then we took over the next door unit, and we moved there. That gave us 70 seats.
Right.
And then other place got available our old location, so we knocked the walls off, and then we became 113 seats. And
So
then
you
we moved.
expanded twice.
Exactly. And then 10 years later, we moved to Danville location of Skimo races.
And
And we've been there 12 years.
And that was a big relief, right? Because you had a little bit more room. And
Definitely better location.
Yeah.
People would come to Old Cafes and then call us from parking lot, asking us where we were located. It was very hard location.
It was out of the way, right?
It was very out of the way.
Yeah, and this one, your current one in Essex, so
Yes.
in a shopping center, easy to park, easy
It's
to get
very
to.
easy to park, plenty of parking.
And so, how long will you be reducing the wine?
Until most of the liquid is gone away.
Okay. So basically until mostly evaporated.
Yeah,
okay.
almost it looks dry. That's when I'm gonna put the stuff in.
Okay. And this is still on high heat?
Yes, it is on high heat right now.
Okay.
Because you don't want, if you put it too soon, your stuff, and you don't reduce your wine, you're gonna get that raw taste of wine, which is not really desirable. So when it mostly evaporates, all you have is wonderful flavors of it, not the raw tasting wine.
Okay, interesting. So you just sort of want it to be absorbed into the onions and in the background versus in the liquid. Let's see. Okay, let's see. I have a question. What brandy and wine did you put in? Any specific kind?
Oh, you can use, of course, you want decent quality. You don't want to use Armagnac. That's too expensive.
You don't want to break
but something that you don't mind sipping while you're cooking it, for example, I think would be good. Not too expensive, but decent wine.
And you recommended a heavier body wine.
For this one, because I want that heavier body on the onion soup, almost that meaty texture. So I like full red, like Cab or Zen, with a lot of flavors.
And any particular kind of brandy, or is that not as important?
Anything you can use. What do we have here? I can't remember the name that we use a lot. I need to look it up. But this one is like Southern Home Zen. And brandy, I can't remember the name of the brandy.
But there's a little less of the brandy. So
very small amount of brandy, yes.
And let's see, we did have more of a comment that this is from Michelle. So excited to see you making this soup. I love all three of your restaurants. That's
Thank
nice.
you.
And let's see, one more in the past. Okay. Let's see, it says, in the past, onion soup has not agreed with me. Is it possible that certain types of onions might be a little easier on my stomach? Any thoughts on that?
I don't think so. If onions don't agree with you, probably none of them will. They all.
There's no magic onion.
No, there's no magic onion.
I mean, one thing is
onions and sharper onions, but.
I mean, it could be that a vegetarian version of the soup might be better for the stomach. It could be the veal stock.
Is it the one that she had at our restaurant?
Oh, I don't know. Good question. I hope not. Yeah. It couldn't be. How's it looking?
It's reducing a little bit more right now.
Oh, you know what? This might be a good time to pick out our winner of our Visa gift card. Thanks to Xfinity for sponsoring this. Each week we're giving out a $100 gift card to one of the viewers. And let's see, Emily will send me the name, and it is Julia B. Julia B. Congratulations! Thanks so much for watching. We'll follow up with you after via email and set up a way to get you that gift card. So congratulations! And thanks again for watching. And, supporting local magazines and local restaurants. It's more important than ever these days to do that. And I would encourage everybody to check out Social Bird, right?
And I really, I want to thank everyone, all our guests supporting us all during these times. You were there first with Takeout, all of you. I really, really, I cannot thank you all enough. Without you, we wouldn't be here today.
Yeah, well, I
Thank
know.
you so much, all of you.
Yeah, and thank you for, you know, I did the story about all the chefs who are, it's been unprecedented times this last 10
Yes,
months and all the pivots and different things you've had to do to keep open. And I think you've done a great job. I have noticed that the restaurants that have been around for longer and have a more loyal clientele seem to be able to weather it because, you know,
Yeah, we are
they've
very
established
grateful.
community bond.
Very grateful for that, for good followers. Really,
Yeah.
I'm ever so grateful. I know Curtis is too.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, and I did
and
want to.
all of employees.
Yeah, I did want to ask, are you guys doing a Thanksgiving?
Yeah,
meal?
closed on Thanksgiving Day.
Okay.
We weren't sure how it was gonna go, and decided to close that day.
I think you deserve a day off, right?
A little day off, yes.
Yeah.
We all do.
Will that be the first time you've been closed on Thanksgiving? For a while?
We were open for about 12, 14 years. Thanksgiving. It was one of our biggest days ever, but we decided one day my kids were preteens and they came for Thanksgiving meal at the restaurant. They took the bus, and I was a little bit I was crushed a bit. I said, okay, I need to really create our own Thanksgiving memories too.
Yeah.
So that's time we decided to close, and also all our employees too.
Yes.
We decided it is probably best everyone have a day off on Thanksgiving and enjoy their families.
Right.
So
That makes
that's when we
sense.
started
Yeah.
closing.
And you said, didn't you sign or sign the lease on the first Essen restaurant right after your first child was born? Is that right?
Yes, he was 6 months old.
6 months old.
I don't know what we were thinking. We thought it would be easy, but
it's one of those things.
it was very hard.
If you knew, you probably wouldn't have done it.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend for anyone, but in those days it was really tough. He came with us to work, and he had his little room. A lot of our guests do remember him traveling around. In fact, one day he was pushing a 5-gallon bucket. He turned it upside down, trying to learn how to walk. And one of our guests, wonderful guest, came back with a walker for him.
Oh, really? Gotta get this kid a walker. That's so nice.
But the thing was, he really loved the buckets.
Yes, exactly.
So this is pretty much
all. Do you mind lifting it up? Can you lift it up to the?
Didn't get it all.
Oh, yeah. There we go. And so.
It's pretty much gone.
Pretty much
all
evaporated. Just about evaporated, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And then I'm just going to go ahead and put my
vegetable
stock in there, and then bring it to boil, and I'm gonna let it boil about another 20 minutes or so till it starts getting a body and get together.
So it gets a little soupier.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay. And so you'll bring it up to a boil and then take it down to a simmer.
Because we don't use any flour as a thickener. So I am relying on the onions that broken down a little bit to give a little thickness to it.
Okay.
And after that, the bread also helps a lot too.
To give it a little.
Exactly.
No, that makes sense.
Yes.
And you said about 20 to 25 minutes on here. You take it up to boil, then you bring it back to a simmer.
Yes, it's gonna come to boil, and then I'm gonna turn it down to simmer.
And you keep it uncovered, right?
Uncovered, yes. You don't need to cover it. And then just the sourdough bread, you can just make sure whatever container you're using for onion soup, make sure your bread so it fits right.
Okay. And you're using just a little sort of ceramic kind of classic French onion soup bowl?
Yes. And for these, just fresh light of it. I like using extra virgin olive oil on everything.
Yeah.
Gives a little bit more flavor.
Yes. And
then you can sprinkle a little bit of salt and then bake in the oven about 10 minutes or so till it's like a cooked on crisp.
So quite good because it's going to be in the soup, so you want it to be a little harder, right? Yeah.
And then, is it time to make the soup?
I think so. I think we're ready. So through the magic of TV, Essen has a completed soup, and we can give you Bring it over. Would you like me to take that? Liz? Okay. Should I take this?
This is Carmelo, our chef here at Social Bird.
Right. Can I get
He's
this
been
too?
with us many years.
Right,
So
yeah.
it's
How long have you been here?
Here, yeah, 8 years with us.
Only
Only 1 year, but
Really?
he brought him from Essence. So
Okay.
he's wonderful.
Thank you.
So this is what it looks like when,
Okay.
so it's quite thick, beautiful color. And can you see it? Oh, this
Oh
way.
yeah, we get it right up here.
I'm
Yeah.
going the wrong way.
Let me get a whiff. Oh my gosh, you can smell the wine now.
Yes,
before here.
but not
A little bit of bread.
so we are
insert.
gonna make.
Yep. Okay, and you're saying that if you don't have if you want these to be oven proof, the containers, you can actually just use a coffee mug if you don't have.
Yes, whatever you have at home, something similar to this, it can totally be used. I don't know. Can you ask me for cheese?
Oh yeah.
Give the Gruyere.
Okay, Carmelo's on the case. Yeah. Okay, good. And so you fill it up like halfway, a little more than halfway.
I'm gonna go a little bit more.
Look at that color, it's beautiful. It's almost
So
purple.
it's hard to believe that
Yeah.
there is no meat stuff in there.
It is, yeah. Because it looks so meaty and it's, it has a thickness too.
Yes.
Okay, and then you put the, thank you. Okay, and so you use Gruyere, that's kind of traditional, right? The Gruyere cheese.
Okay, Gruyere, anything that melts, really, again, there's no set of rules.
Yeah.
What you would like to use.
And you can put as much or as little as you
As
want.
little as, these are cut a little bit too skinny, so I'm using a little bit heavier, yeah. Cheese what makes it, I think.
And you said there's actually some vegan cheeses out there that you really like, right?
Yes, there are really good quality vegan cheeses out there. I haven't experimented with anything melting kind, but feta cheese I have and is really, really good.
Good.
It almost tastes like good cheese.
And so you're gonna put this under the broiler.
Yeah, we're gonna put this under the broiler.
And how long are you gonna do that for?
This takes about 2 minutes or so. Not even, maybe.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carmelo.
Is this something you can do with like a creme brulee torch as well if you have one, or is it just doesn't come?
I
with
don't
one?
think so.
Yeah.
And then
It doesn't get the heat that you really want.
exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think this it melts and it
Then you get the crust on the edge of the
Exactly,
bowl. Yeah, I love that. That's
exactly.
kind of the
So much
signature.
better, I think.
Absolutely.
so.
And so let's see. I mean, this is I think you were saying it's a pretty substantial soup, despite there not being any meat in it. Anything you recommend eating with it?
I think
Salad?
salad would be wonderful
Yeah.
with it, and glass of wine probably.
Absolutely. Yeah. That always goes
It's
well.
believe it or not, it's very filling.
Yeah.
It's a very, very filling soup. It's
Yeah.
very comforting.
Yes. And you can always add more bread if you want.
More
just some
bread,
Yeah.
exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Is this a dish that tends to get ordered more in the winter and the colder weather? Or?
Well, it's popular year round.
Is it?
It's very popular because surprisingly, not many people make the onion soup at home.
Yeah.
But you see how simple it is. Now maybe you can go home and make one.
Yeah, I mean, it is funny. It seems like sort of a special occasion you
Yes,
get at a
yes,
restaurant, right?
yes.
Go out and you order the caramelized soup, but having made it, seeing these video lists, it's really
It's
quite
very,
simple,
very simple.
and low maintenance. I mean, it's just a
Low
little bit of
maintenance,
stirring, you know.
You don't have to go buy too many ingredients. It's very few ingredients. Everybody has bread in their home.
Yes. Like
Onions
onions in the back of the
and
bread.
a little bit
Yeah.
butter, little oil.
Mhm.
Not much needed.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of just the basics, right?
Yes.
Do you remember having your first French onion soup? Do you remember anywhere in particular?
That was no. I'm thinking. No.
maybe in Essen. And when you first opened Essen, what was sort of the concept? What was the idea that you wanted it to be, like the kind of food?
Surprisingly, it was the concept that what became recently, last 5 years or so, is everybody's doing organic and local
Yes.
farm to table type of that's but the idea, everything fresh ingredients. And in the beginning years, not many people were doing that. So that's what yeah, we were doing what it is now 20 years ago.
Yes.
So our idea was to give comfort food, not very complicated, but really great ingredients and seasonal items. So we changed the menu. There are, of course, a few menu items never change. It's because if we take them off, our guests will get upset.
You don't want to upset
So
your guests.
you don't want to upset our guests.
Right.
But we try to keep most of them changing year round.
Yes. The one thing I've always noticed, and I've always noticed from the readers, is that they're always one sort of thing that sets us apart is the level of service, and people always feel very taken care of. It's a very professional environment. It seems like you and Curtis put in a lot of effort into making sure that
we try very hard because when you go to a restaurant, you expect certain level of service, quality food. Of course, you should. You're paying money for it, and our goal is to deliver that.
Oh, looks like it's ready. There it is. Look at that. That beautiful floating cheesy bread right in there and bubbling. That looks good. What if
Yeah, we are going to let you eat.
I know. I probably don't want to eat it just yet, right?
Yes, still bubbling.
And speaking of your kids, how old are your boys now?
Oh, my oldest son is 23 and younger 20.
And they can walk now.
Yes, and they help me out.
They do. Are they around? Are they helping you out a little bit?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
They are. They're helping out.
Cool. Let's see. Do we have a spoon anywhere?
Like in the
Okay. There. This will be the test.
would you like?
Oh.
We have to take our masks down.
I know. Just briefly. Wow. I'm gonna take a second bite. Absolutely delicious. It's hard to believe there's no beef or veal stock in
Exactly.
there. Yeah. And the cheese makes such a big difference. It gives
Big,
a little
big
texture
difference.
and, bite to it.
It's so simple but very satisfying at the same time.
Absolutely. And then you can actually make it vegan if you want, right? You don't have to use the butter.
Totally.
You can use the vegan
Yes.
cheese.
Totally. And you can probably find gluten-free bread.
That's
and
true,
make it
yeah.
gluten-free and vegan.
Or you can put some bacon in it. And,
Why not? That's the other way around.
Either way you want to go. Well,
Totally. You could do that.
Well, Essen, thank you so much. This is wonderful, absolutely
You're welcome.
delicious. And
Thank you
yeah,
for having me here.
yeah, we just want to say thank you to our sponsors again, Xfinity. We really appreciate it. And let's see, our next video is going to be we're going to take a week off for Thanksgiving and come back, I believe, Tuesday, December 1st or 2nd. We're going to be making sandwiches with Matt Greco from Salt Craft. But thank you so much for tuning in, and please consider supporting your local restaurants in Essen and Rebel and Social Bird. They're doing a wonderful job here, and order the onion soup.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
For watching.
Okay, have a great afternoon.
Thank you.
Bye.